Yes, sir. So you don't have any headlights on, and you're going really fast down Monroe Street.
Headlight, my headlights automatically on when I'm driving.
They're not on right now.
Would you be willing to do some voluntary field sobriety exercises? No? Just go ahead and face the car for us. Your license is suspended, so we're gonna...
No problem.
So I smelled on your vehicle. Did you recently
no,
smell?
No, let me tell you something, man.
He has a cover on his seat, and in the cover where like the knee would sit, there's an opening, and he had it like tucked.
Okay.
And then the whatever he had in his cup also smelled.
Oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I can't make this up, everybody. I really wish I could be making this up. In fact, I am frankly disappointed and upset, just seething at the fact that I cannot be making this up. But what you just saw in that footage right there was the cleanest cut footage of a cop planting evidence to have somebody charged with a felony that anybody has ever seen. This all took place in Tallahassee, Florida, on the night of May 7, 2023, with the victim being Calvin Riley and the perpetrator being Kirsten Oliver of the Tallahassee Police Department. And what you saw in that footage was her conducting a traffic stop on this man, getting her information and discovering that he has a suspended license, and then attempts to ask if he'd be willing to do a field sobriety test, which he refuses. Keep in mind that during this time, they never warned him of the consequences of refusing a field sobriety test. They just instantly placed him in cuffs. Now there's a couple of key factors to take into account with this particular body cam footage, such as the fact that Oliver claims to have smelled a certain odor coming out of that car, to be more specific, Biss. But the biggest key takeaway from this body cam footage is the fact that she pulls out a small liquor bottle, sealed mind you, opens it, dumps out all the contents, places it into the passenger seat of that Mercedes, and then tells her other officers that what she found was an empty liquor bottle in the passenger seat. And thus they decide to charge him with a DUI. And believe me, there's a lot more to this than just the body cam footage, because believe it or not, almost a year after this incident, on March 7, 2024, she actually went through 2 depositions on the situation. And before I discuss my thoughts on this towards the end, I'm going to play you the key parts on it first. Because the way she flip-flops on her testimonies is absolutely unreal, and should really expose why this cop should be on the Brady list, if not fired.
While you're speaking to the defendant, trying to get this information, can you tell us, what does the car smell like in that moment?
I believed at the time it possibly smelled like alcohol.
Were you 100% certain at that point?
No.
Okay. Does he ever mention anything to you about the headlights on his vehicle not being on?
He asked why I slowed him down, and I advised to him that he was traveling at a high rate of speed and that his headlights were off. And he asked me, "Am I sure?" And I said yes.
And what was your reaction, or what, if anything, did you have to do to show him that these lights were in fact off?
I pointed his direction to the light switch that controls the headlights in the vehicle. I told him his parking lights were on, and then I turned it over again, and then the lights for the headlights appeared.
Is that the first time you saw the headlights on his vehicle?
No. Or, can you rephrase that question?
Is that the first time his headlights on the vehicle were turned on in your entire involvement in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about what that search looked like for you?
Yes. So I entered the vehicle through the open door, and I searched multiple cavities in the front seat and the back seat.
Did you find anything in the vehicle of particular importance to your investigation?
Yes, I found a insulated cup that obtained liquid, and in the center console in the cup holder, and I also obtained a liquor bottle from the seat cover pouch where the knees would go inside the vehicle in the driver's seat.
After you find this bottle of liquor in the defendant's near the front seat of his vehicle, what do you do with it?
I pour it out.
Why did you pour it out?
Because number one, our policy to impound, you cannot have liquids. And at the time, my mindset was that I was going to be impounding it.
Did he smell of anything in particular?
Yes.
Can you tell us what about that?
Yes. So I believed he reeked of alcohol.
Okay. And what did his vehicle smell like?
Alcohol and
No further questions.
His left blinker was on, is that correct?
I don't remember.
Which was the registration for his car, correct?
I don't remember what exactly the paper was.
So when he drove, the lights would then automatically be on.
I don't remember if I turned them on or put them on auto.
You don't remember if there was an auto setting?
No.
Did you not just testify seconds ago that you turned it on to the auto setting?
No, I said that I turned it on. I don't know if it was on the auto setting or just on.
So during that conversation that was recorded on your body-worn camera, you told Officer Muth that you didn't smell anything, correct?
I don't believe I did. I believe I told her that I couldn't tell if it was the smell of alcohol.
That is your testimony here today.
Yes, to my knowledge.
I feel like I'm getting some indications, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't really smell anything right now.
So when you had that conversation with Officer Muth, you said that you couldn't smell anything right now, correct?
I couldn't really smell anything.
So you didn't say you couldn't really smell alcohol?
I didn't specifically say alcohol, no.
No. But that's what you testified earlier.
Correct.
But you didn't smell anything at that point.
Couldn't really smell anything.
Okay, so, whether you saw the shortened version of this deposition on our channel or the full original 2-hour-long deposition, what's a pattern you would have noticed about Officer Oliver? Well, it's the same thing as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, and it's the fact that she could not for the life of her keep her story straight. Hence the phrase, if you let a liar talk long enough, he'll eventually tell the truth. That being said, why don't we try to break down each and every lie that we can, piece by piece, shall we? Now, I'm not worried too much about her lying about the headlights because, let's be honest here, there are much bigger lies that were told by her, such as the fact that she smelled an odor coming from the vehicle. And setting aside the fact that an odor cannot be enough evidence to justify an arrest under the Supreme Court case of Johnson v. United States, Kirsten Oliver flip-flopped through a whole variety of different odors that she apparently detected from this car. Whether it was Biss through her questioning of this man and whether or not he smoked, or the presence of alcohol in the car, to straight up saying that she didn't smell an odor at all. But by far the absolute biggest lie of all that should guarantee her spot on the Brady list, if not cost her her job and her policing license, is the fact that once again, she dumped out the contents of a sealed liquor bottle, planted the evidence in the car, and stated to her other officers and her police report that they found an empty liquor bottle in that Mercedes. And do you really think that bottle was open at the time of her opening it? Let me play the footage once again so you can guarantee that there indeed was a seal on that bottle. Did you hear that crackling sound? That doesn't seem to be a noise that any other bottle would make if it was already opened. I don't know, that's just me. And what guarantees her lies even more about this is that in the first half of her deposition, her memory was just spot on impeccable. And this was almost a year after this unlawful arrest and evidence planting. Only for the second half of the deposition, for her to not remember anything, as she said more than a dozen times on several separate occasions throughout this 2-hour-long deposition, I don't remember. How convenient is that, am I right? Now, a lot of information that we gather on this comes from OurTallahassee.com. But one of the things to note about this is that the Tallahassee PD reviewed this incident and found that all of her actions were justified. Yeah, this lady planting evidence and deliberately trying to ruin a man's life was completely justified. Not only that, but it turns out that these prosecuting attorneys that were conducting this deposition were actually trying to work with Oliver in trying to prove that she was innocent in all this. Never mind the fact that we have literal body cam footage showcasing the fact that she opened a sealed container of liquor, poured it out, planted it into the car, and stated on her police report why she charged that man with a DUI. And one of the ways they attempted to work with her was suppressing the evidence of the sealed liquor bottle on that body cam footage, which thankfully the judge in charge denied their motion to suppress. It is amazing to me that even after this deposition, and even after the evidence was shown that this man was completely innocent, that these prosecuting attorneys in Florida would still be trying to press charges on this man. They have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet they could be charging Officer Oliver with so many different charges on this. It would be so easy for them to just put her in jail, or at the very least have her fired. But no, let's just side with these dirty cops. No big deal. It's not like it's going to cause an outrage against us or anything. Now, this case is still ongoing at the time of me recording this, and I have no evidence as to whether or not these charges were dropped. This is post-edit recognizing our rights here, coming to say that while I was almost done editing this footage here, I had come across a whole bunch of news sources saying one thing in common. That this man, Calvin Riley, was found guilty of a DUI and put on probation. No, I'm, again, not making this up. I am really angry about the fact that I lack the ability to make this up. They have literal body cam footage of these cops planting evidence, and yet he's still found guilty. I'm sorry, can I cuss on this channel? I mean, I know we're supposed to be as professional as can be, but this is just one of those moments where I just have to say, what the fuck? But believe me when I say that I'm going to leave contact information down below to not only the Tallahassee PD, but also to these prosecuting attorneys for all of you to hold accountable. Please make sure you be as respectful as can be if you choose to redress your grievances, but just like the acronym of our channel says, let them all hear our roar. And more importantly, we're going to leave links down below to the full original video on our Tallahassee's channel. Make sure you subscribe to them and let them know the Recognizing Our Rights sent you. And also make sure you check out our secondary channel on YouTube, SkyJ1, if you want to see more gaming content. But thank you all once again for watching, and with that being said, we will see you all later. The only other thing we want from you would be to never stop loving the Constitution.